The defendant lived with your daughter.
Yes.
He lived with your daughter for a couple of years?
No.
I'm
sorry.
to you. I'm looking at him. How long did you live?
We lived together about 6 to 7 months.
Yeah, I thought that you indicated in your answer that it was a couple of years.
We were dating for approximately 2.5 to 3 years, but we lived together for about 6 to 7 months.
2 months.
Okay. I don't want to hear you.
Okay, sorry.
When did you start dating?
March of 2021.
And in what month did you move in together?
In March of 2023.
Did you move into your apartment, her apartment, or did you move into a joint apartment?
She moved into my apartment.
And how long had you lived in your apartment?
I'd probably been there about 4 years or so.
This is what the case is about. Your daughter was tragically killed in an automobile accident.
Yes.
Mr. Morales was not in the car at the time that happened, and it is your claim that he has certain property of your daughter's that it rightfully belongs to you, since I assume she died without a will.
Intestate, yes, Your Honor.
I know what that means, madam. I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
She died without a will.
Correct.
And you want your stuff. Mr. Morales says that after she passed away, you, who had moved cross-country a couple of years ago, had designated someone whose name was Belinda? Bethany, to gather up your daughter's things that you wanted, and Bethany took them.
Correct.
You're suing him for $10,000 for value of return of property, attorney's fees, and damages for pain and suffering. Okay. You know, sometimes it's much easier to be angry than it is to be sad. So I have absolutely no idea what you're doing here.
Been angry.
I have no idea what you're doing here, but it looks as if there's a bag over there. Would you tell me, Mr. Morales, what is in that bag?
There were a few items that I did end up finding.
Would you please give that to me, Kevin? I want to see.
And so these are those said items, so I brought them with
Okay.
me.
Okay. And you brought these to give to her mother?
Correct.
Fine. Would you give those to the plaintiff, please?
Thank you. Thank you.
In what month and year was the accident, Mrs. Benham?
She was killed on August 13th, 2023.
And now we're a year and a half later, and what is it that you think that Mr. Morales has that belonged to your daughter and that therefore you should have?
I have a list. I lived with my daughter for 25 years.
I want to explain something to you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't want to see a 15-page list. A year and a half after, tell me what the big-ticket items are that you think that he has that belong to your daughter.
I just got 3 small bags back, and my daughter...
I don't care.
Okay, I don't understand the question. I'm so sorry.
If you say, my daughter had a Rolex watch, and it wasn't in her property, that's a thing. If you say, my daughter had a set of white pearls, and that wasn't in her property, that's a thing. I don't want to hear about clothes, shoes, pocketbooks, cooking utensils, dishes. I don't want to hear anything about that. Do you understand? So now look at your list and tell me what the first thing is that nothing that I've just mentioned, clothes, shoes, underwear, pocketbooks.
Okay, a rose gold-colored apple.
Just a second. A rose gold-colored
Apple watch, which I have a picture of her wrist 10 days before death.
Just a second. An Apple watch. Do you have an Apple watch that belonged, what was her name?
Excuse me, Rachel. And no, I do not. I'm assuming that...
You don't have it.
No, I don't.
Did you sell it?
No.
No. He doesn't have it. What's next?
I'm so sorry, but right here, from his attorney to mine, he says he has it, but he purchased it, so he believes it's his.
Just a second.
Has it.
Just a second. Is that correct?
I did purchase it, but I do not have it. I don't know if it was confiscated when she was in the accident because she was wearing it. I'm not sure.
He doesn't have it. Next.
Okay, but this...
Next.
Oh, my God.
Next on your list that you say that he has that belongs to your daughter.
Again, I may be a little nervous and sad. No, but I'm not explaining. What can I tell you? I can't say that I only got 3 bags back from a 29-year-old.
I don't care
I
what you got back.
But I don't understand the question.
Well, then pay attention.
Okay. I have processing issues.
You have to pay attention,
I am.
madam. What did your daughter do for a living?
She sold at a swap meet for 2 years.
Now, just a second.
Okay.
What did she do for a living when she and Mr. Morales were together?
She worked as a cocktail waitress.
She wasn't a high-income earner. Am I getting that right, Mr. Morales?
That is correct.
Okay. And now we're talking about a year and a half later. Was she working when she was living with you?
She was working with me when she was living with me.
She was working when she was living with you, not
Correct.
working for you.
No, not for me. Working when she was living with me. We did actually move to Reno in July of 2023, and that was when she got the job as the cocktail waitress.
I want you to tell me what else you think Mr. Morales has that belongs to your daughter.
Her birth certificate. And,
Just a second.
Okay.
Do you have her birth
I do.
certificate, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Kevin, would you give her birth certificate to her mother? Birth certificate's very easy, madam. All you have to do is go to the county clerk's office and you can get another one. What's next?
I appreciate this.
What's next?
Yes. There is a desk of Rachel's that he said he threw it away, it was damaged, but I don't think he had authority to dispose of things. He wasn't an executor or anything, or a
So what?
court
Let me ask you
administrator.
this question.
Yes.
You don't doubt this desk that he threw away?
He had stated he did.
You don't doubt that he threw it away because it was damaged. What do you want him to do? Pay you for it? Pay you the value of it? Well, what do
No,
you
it
want?
was very sentimental. I would have liked it to repair
Well,
it.
you can't have it.
Okay.
What else do you think that he has that belonged to your daughter?
I lived with my daughter for 25 years.
Listen, Matt.
She worked for 13 years, and she had accumulated a lot. She was just under 29 years old.
I have no idea whether that's true or not. And it is irrelevant to these proceedings.
Okay, so what else does she have? All I know is I got 2 bags of clothes from someone that was just shy of 29, and I lived with her before I moved 2 years ago, and she had half my garage filled with things, put it into a large storage unit, and I never got access to the storage unit.
I don't know why you're mad at him. You should be angry at the drunk driver who caused the accident.
I am too.
So what are you doing in court if you said he stole $50,000 in cash that you kept in a vault? All of this stuff that you're talking about, a desk that you would have liked to have had of hers. Nonsense. So I don't understand why he didn't cause what happened to your daughter to happen.
I understand.
So I don't know what you're here for.
May I answer the question you asked me?
Yeah, you sure. Other than what you've already told me, that you lived with her for so many years, that she had stuff in a storage unit, that you didn't have access to it, that's all speculation.
Yes.
I asked you,
and I'll
what
answer, Your Honor.
Is it a thing that I can ask you? Said birth certificate, you got a birth certificate. Desk, he actually disposed of an old desk that was damaged. What do you mention it for? I don't know why. You said I would have liked to have it. Well, that means that you would like me to make a monetary judgment against him for a desk. Well, I'm not prepared to do that. So let's move on.
Could I answer the question you asked?
Sure.
To lose a child, anyway, it's indescribable. Then to have a short-term 6-month relationship, retain 99.9% of your daughter's stuff. This is all I have to touch to remember my daughter's life.
I want to tell you something.
Yes.
That's more important than a desk
or
a pair of shoes or an Apple Watch that you can go out to replace. So I want you to sort of think about it this way. If your daughter dated a defendant for a couple of years and then was happy enough with him to move with him. Now, you weren't there because you moved cross-country.
Correct.
You moved 2,000 miles away from your daughter, okay? She lived with him for a month, 2 months. It's irrelevant. She must have been happy with him if she moved with him. You should be saying, thank you for making the last few months of my daughter's life happy. She was living with a guy who she clearly liked because she moved with him. And instead of saying thank you, you sue him for nonsense. Nonsense. It's not his fault that she's gone.
I know that.
So you want something to touch of your daughter's? It would seem to me that just a second. It seems to me that that's a something. And I would rather, put that down, and I would rather have that as a something, which your daughter clearly curated herself, which means she went, she saw this, she liked it. It was a crystal. She collected them. It's clearly more important than an Apple Watch that you can go into Apple and buy another one up, or a desk. So you want something to touch of your daughter's, that's it. And say thank you for making the last couple of months of my daughter's life, or couple of years, happy. Are we done here? Thank you.
So. Maybe it's their grieving process. Maybe this is makes them feel better. I don't know. But I think they're targeting the wrong person in this.
After just shy of 29 years of life, this is all I have to remember my daughter.
Oh, I gave them back everything that I possibly had that was hers.
It's good that I get to move forward. I really thought she'd be on my side.
Hope she finds closure.
It wasn't meant to be, but yes, I can move on, and he could enjoy all my daughter's things going forward.
Anger is a much easier emotion to deal with than sadness. The plaintiff was devastated by the loss of her daughter. The defendant wasn't involved in that accident at all. But it really just seems to me that the last person you would lash out at is the person who brought her happiness for the last few months or few years of her life.
And from what we saw today, he seemed very decent. Here's the birth certificate back, a couple of things that you weren't given in the initial trade over. So he seemed pretty reasonable.
Tragic, a 29-year-old woman killed by a drunk driver, which is what happened.
Hopefully this will give her some closure, though, and she got the last couple items.
I don't think so.
With him, I mean, with the defendant.
Him, hopefully.
A young girl named Anaya lost her life in a tragic road accident. And in that one moment, her mother Mira's entire world collapsed. Anaya was her only daughter, her happiness, her future, and losing her felt unreal, almost impossible to accept. As days passed, grief slowly turned into anger, and that anger needed someone to blame. And for Mira, that person was Arjun, Anaya's boyfriend, who had been driving the car on the night of the accident. It was raining heavily, the roads were slippery, and visibility was poor. But none of that mattered to a mother who had just lost her child. In her mind, if Arjun had been more careful, if he had slowed down, if he had made a different decision, her daughter would still be alive. Driven by this belief, Mira filed a lawsuit against him, accusing him of negligence and holding him responsible for Anaya's death, a decision that shocked everyone because Arjun wasn't just a driver in that moment, he was someone who loved Anaya deeply and was already living with unbearable guilt. When the case reached the courtroom, the atmosphere was heavy with emotion. On one side stood a grieving mother, holding on to the hope that justice might ease her pain. And on the other stood a broken young man who had already lost the love of his life. Arjun didn't defend himself with anger or excuses. Instead, when the judge asked him to speak, his voice trembled as he said he would never harm Anaya and wished he could trade places with her, that he was already punished every single day by her absence. The courtroom fell silent because his pain was real, raw, and impossible to ignore. The judge then carefully examined every detail: police reports, weather conditions, tire marks, witness statements, and found no evidence of reckless driving, no signs of overspeeding, and no proof that Arjun had acted irresponsibly. Everything pointed to one heartbreaking truth: it was a tragic accident. Finally, the judge delivered the decision, acknowledging Mira's unbearable loss but making it clear that the law cannot punish someone without evidence of wrongdoing. He ruled that the accident was not a crime and dismissed the case. In that moment, Mira stood still, overwhelmed not just by grief but by realization that blaming Arjun would not bring her daughter back, and that the person she was fighting was already suffering just as deeply as she was. Arjun didn't feel relief or victory because he had lost someone he truly loved, and that loss would stay with him forever. Sometimes, the hardest part of moving forward is accepting that not every tragedy has someone to blame, and that some pain must simply be carried, not avenged.